Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Tiger Football presented by Rib Crib, alongside the head coach of the Broken Arrow Tigers, David Alexander. I'm Charlie Hannema. Glad you're with us tonight as we look back at a big season opening win, 42-13 on the road at Mansfield. Coach, just your initial thoughts, what jumps out from game number one?
Well, I was so proud of the kids. That's a long day. You know, we went down the day of the game and came back after. Really proud of how they stayed focused. That's not easy to do. And you get on a bus at 7 o'clock and you don't play it for another 12 hours because you got to turn it on and turn it off and turn it back on again. But, you know, when we came out of the tunnel, those kids were ready to play football.
We think about that season opener, and you hit on that execution sometimes in those first games.
Yeah.
You just never know, but for the most part, pretty clean. I mean, you didn't get to your first penalty until like 2 minutes left in the game, and you only had the one.
Yeah, you would never expect that. I mean, you're always, as a coach, you hope for it, and you want to, you set goals and no turnovers and fewer than 3 penalties and yada, yada, yada. But to have that in the first game was a little unexpected, and that goes to our senior leadership, showing these young guys how to practice and that it's important to practice with some intensity so, the games on Friday night, it's second nature.
I know you kind of have to play the whole game, obviously, right? But you guys sometimes have a feeling when something happens in the game, this is either going to go well or not go well. And sometimes it's even just how you got off the bus or how you practiced or whatever. Right. So what was it about this Mansfield game where you guys as a coaching staff said, hey, we're going to be in pretty good shape here? Well,
it was our second stop. Our itinerary was off a little bit. We got to we used South Grand Prairie High School, which was pretty close to Mansfield, as our home base, and we got there early, right? And so, man, I hated sitting around there as long as we did. But the kids, we let them sit around a little bit and have some food. But when we asked them to get up and start talking about football, it was all business. And I'm like, okay, they're locked in, they're ready to go. We went through our meetings, and all the running around playing catch, it all stopped, and they started thinking about Mansfield and what Mansfield was going to do. It was from that moment on, I said, okay, win or lose, we're going to go out and we're going to execute.
Kind of another unique week here as you get ready for Union with a Saturday game, and then no school Monday for Labor Day. Just kind of take me through how you approach all that, and as you get into Tuesday and then Wednesday, and we get closer to game week here.
Well, we were very lucky. I played on Saturday. We were very lucky that we had Monday off of school. I brought the coaches in. We got home 3 o'clock Sunday morning, and I brought the coaches back in at 11 o'clock Sunday, and the kids came in at 3, and they really didn't do a whole lot. We fed them at 4, we fed them dinner, and then the coaches were back up there Monday morning at 8, and we brought the kids in at 2:30 on Monday. Obviously it was only 48 hours after game, and we needed to practice, and we needed to talk about Union. We tried to not go full speed in very many drills, just tried to talk about – we had about 75% of the game plan in, and we tried to get through kind of a shorter practice and do some special teams. But we had to do something, and then, Tuesday we'll kind of ramp it up a little bit.
Broken Arrow at Union this Friday, back-to-back road games to start, much shorter drive this time. But 7 o'clock kick Friday night at Union. You can get your tickets in advance at Tiger Threads on the campus of Broken Arrow High School, 9 to 5 tomorrow, and Thursday, $7 for adults, $4 for kids. You can also try GoFan.com. Limited amount available online, so Tiger Threads probably your best bet there. 7 o'clock kickoff Friday against Union. Much more still to come here on Inside Tiger Football presented by Rib Crib. We'll dive into the Mansfield game, and Myles Slusher will be here in our player segment in just a little bit. This is Broken Arrow Football.
With kids, life is one big adventure. That's why you need a strong financial partner you can count on, like TTCU Federal Credit Union. Right now, you could get $150 when you open a new TTCU checking account. And every time you use your School Pride debit card, TTCU donates to schools. What better way to make a difference? Checking account? Why not call it your living account? TTCU Federal Credit Union. Life is better in balance.
Can you hear it? It's the sound of hope and health and strength. It's the sound of compassion, of open doors, where people and machines are in tune and miracles occur. It's the sound of personalized healthcare and active communities. It sounds like life, and it's what you hear when you really listen.
Welcome back to Inside Tiger Football presented by Rib Crib. Charlie Hannema and Coach David Alexander with you here tonight. And We know Union this week coming up, and then I want to tell you about our home opener, September 13th. It's the Folds of Honor Patriot Bowl, driven by Jim Glover Auto Family. Broken Arrow and Owasso going to be an awesome matchup to start our home schedule at the Woodshed. Friday, September 13th, 7 o'clock kickoff. Season tickets are still available, and we'll have pre-sale tickets for the Owasso game coming up next week. But Union this week, and before we get there, let's look back at Mansfield, the 42-13 win. Jake Raines makes his first start. Yeah. You guys come right out and march right down the field.
Right. How about that? Really proud of the young man. He has gotten better every week. And we knew he was going to go out and lead. That's probably his strongest qualities, his leadership, and he's really a tough young man. And so, right. But his execution and his poise were beyond measure. We were not expecting him to be so poised on the road after a 5-hour bus ride. And he stood in there in the pocket, stepped up in the pocket a couple times when the pressure kind of went around him, and made great throws, very accurate. And, he was putting the ball on the receivers where they could still run after the catch. It was really amazing. Isaiah Keller and Torrey Dillard both had, great runs after catches because the ball was in a really good spot.
And to be able to have that versatility in your offense. I mean, last year was so run heavy with Noah, right. And you just – why wouldn't it be with such a dominant running back? But for week one to have this different element to the offense had to make you feel good.
Oh man, it was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, we're still a run-first football team, but to be able to throw it now and have the confidence, we got guys on both sides of the quarterback, right outside, that after they catch the ball, are going to run with it, make people miss, and can score from just about anywhere. And Jake was very accurate. I don't know if he'll ever have another game where he's over 90%, but. If he can stay around 75%, we're gonna be really happy.
Mansfield came back down the field and scored. It was a 8-play, 75-yard drive. Kind of uncharacteristic maybe from your defense, but also the first one of the season. So what did you see there?
Well, they surprised us with some stuff. Not really what they did, but how they did it. And you give them some credit. We hadn't seen any of that stuff on film, and that's a little bit of what we talked about our preview show. You never know what you're going to get. And they were, burning the play clock down, staying in the huddle, bust out of the huddle. And so they got us misaligned a couple times. And just like we talked about in the previous show, it was going to take us to make some adjustments on the sidelines, get used to what they were doing. And so, Coach Hill did that, and after that, it was pretty much Katie bar the door.
Yeah, offense kept firing on all cylinders. Right. Jake Raines, 2 more touchdown passes to Isaiah Keller, a 30-yard strike, and then a 32-yarder to Torrey Dillard. Tell us a little bit about Torrey. I know he moved in from Union, moved to Broken Arrow, and just what have you seen from him as you get to know him?
Well, he's very mature, man. He really is a professional, and that's really that's a big word to say for a young man that's 18 years old. But he takes his job very, very seriously. I wish he would smile a little bit more. He walks around with a look on his face, but you can tell he's thinking about football. If Coach Cochran and Coach Wilkinson tell him to. His depth needs to be 15 yards. By gosh, it's going to be 15 yards. And if it's 3 steps on a break, then it's 3 steps on a break. He loves his job. We've put a lot on the plate for a guy that's only been here a few months. He's returning punts, and he's our ex-receiver. He's our kind of a dude. So, but he earned all our trust. In the 3 months he's been here, he's earned our trust. He's worked hard as anybody. And he does everything right on the football field.
It made it 21-7 after those touchdown passes. Then really the last hiccup for your Tigers was a 100-and-some-yard kickoff return, which happens at times. But what did you see there?
Well, that's just gut-wrenching. And Coach Alexander's going to take quite a bit of a blame for that. It was hot, and so we tried to take some of our dudes off the kickoff team. I've always had the philosophy of – that's another defensive play, and we're going to put our guys out there, right? The guys that have really had experience. We had 5 sophomores on the kickoff team, and they made some sophomore mistakes. In Oklahoma, you can't run a kick out of the end zone, and we talked about it. But we had a couple guys slow up when the ball went in the end zone, especially if it was 7 yards deep or something like that.
Yeah, it was a boot.
It was a great kick. So. But you can't slow down. You got to run to the whistle. And, we had a couple guys should have made the tackle. A couple sophomores missed tackles. And it just, Coach that's Coach Alexander's fault, right? I overthought it. It's so much better when you put your guys out there. A ball 7 yards deep, we should have made that tackle inside the 20.
outside of that, though, a pretty good night, special teams-wise. Crawford was booming kicks. He only had to punt the one time, no return there.
Yep.
You know, you kind of think back to some of the season openers in previous years where it was, for lack of a better word, it was an adventure every time you got out there. But to have that consistency, that's got to help.
You know, as the year went on last year, Tyler Crawford got better and better. But having a veteran back and, you know, having Coach Moose one more offseason to work with him, he's gotten incredibly strong. You know, he went to a bunch of camps. He's gonna get a chance to go play college football with his leg.
And then defensively, you guys really started pouring it on. Our next guest, Myles Slusher, was huge.
Yes.
I mean, he tips that pass that Garrett takes back to the house.
Right.
And has a pick six himself that he just jumped in front of. And
yeah.
I mean, Mansfield really couldn't do much anything on offense after that.
No, you know, and I very rarely single out a player after the game, right? Because, you know, you want to see the film, but right after the game, right, Myles Slusher, right, a dude doing dude stuff. He got 2 pass breakups, an interception for a return for a touchdown, and the one he tipped up to Mason Garrett. Those defensive touchdowns are backbreakers. You know, it just takes the wind out of the other team. Just 2 fantastic plays, you know, and he's making tackles. You know, Myles also making tackles at the line of scrimmage in the run game. So it was everywhere. But that's, you know, that's what you expect for a guy that's his 3-year starter. But we need that. You know, we have to have Myles play like that for us to win football games.
5.5 tackles for Myles, third on the team, just one behind Campbell Yeager for the team lead.
Middle linebacker, right?
Yeah, and you look at Mansfield's passing numbers. Hunt Young, their quarterback, just 3 of 10. 3 passes to their guys, 2 passes to our guys, 25 yards to their guys, and about 103 yards to our guys going back to the house the other way. So, well,
it should have been 3 and 3. We had, you know, corner had one hit him right in the numbers, but everybody knows on the team Adonis he doesn't have any hands. He's trying to catch it with his forearms or something. I don't know.
But he knocked it out of bounds, at least, so that's
yes,
positive.
He did.
Very complete performance from your Tigers. Is there anything you look back at and say, oh, well, we kind of need to clean this up? Because the stat sheet tells one story, but you always find stuff.
Of course, yeah. There's every team, not just Broken Arrow Tigers, but every team. The biggest improvement you'll see is from week 1 to week 2. You know, and we held out several of our guys as well. So going into Union, hopefully we're a little more healthy, and we'll clean up some of the alignment mistakes, both offensively and defensively. You know, even though we didn't have any penalties, offensively we lined up incorrectly a couple times. Defensively the same way. So, you know, hey, let's improve and let's get better, and that's what these non-district games are for.
Absolutely. Time for a break here on Inside Tiger Football presented by Rib Crib. When we come back, we'll talk to senior safety Myles Slusher. Stay tuned.
My name is Abigail Bailey. I was at my yearly checkup when I was 12, and we went and got x-rays, and she diagnosed me with scoliosis and that we needed surgery as soon as possible.
Tulsa Bone and Joint was very compassionate. They took their time with us. They answered questions. He was very encouraging.
Dr. Clark helped me see that there is life after spinal fusion. Just because your spine is fused doesn't mean that you can't do what you love to do.
Matthews Ford in Broken Arrow is known for offering nice deals on a great selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs, but we don't stop there. Matthews Ford helps to keep your vehicle running right in the quick lane. Tires, brakes, batteries, oil service, you name it, the factory-trained experts at Quick Lane can handle it, and on your schedule. Give it a try. You'll see why life is better in the quick lane. Log on to MatthewsFordBA.com for a no-hassle, informative, convenient, easy way to shop, which is a nice deal. Matthews Ford.
In the folded flag, we see the heavy price of freedom. Nearly 9 out of 10 dependents of America's fallen and disabled soldiers do not qualify for federal scholarship assistance. The Folds of Honor closes that gap. Join us in this noble mission. Donate today at foldsofhonor.org. This is your call to duty.
Welcome back to Inside Tiger Football presented by Rib Crib. Time now for our player segment, and we're joined by senior defensive back Myles Slusher. Myles had an interception return for a touchdown, a couple other key pass breakups, and 5.5 tackles in Saturday's 42-13 win over Mansfield. Myles, going down to Texas, being in Oklahoma school, and being able to be on their turf and put it on them like that, what does that say about your team, and what does that do for you guys going forward?
It's definitely a confidence booster. We handled business when we went down there.
What was working so well for your defense against Mansfield?
Everybody did their part and didn't try to do too much. That's definitely a main part in the defense. As long as we take care of our keys, everything else will handle itself.
you guys have so much talent out there. Just from that, that last man, that safety position, knowing that you don't have to do everything because you've got such talented linebackers and defensive lines getting to push. Just as that deep man, what does that do for you, knowing that the other 10 guys out there are so talented and they've got your back too?
Definitely makes it easier on my job. The line definitely gets the pressure, and DB's just got to take care of the rest.
Coach, when you got a chance to look at the film, what did Myles do so well Saturday night?
Well, he's talking about his keys, right? I mean, you don't make tackles in the run game within 1 or 2 yards line of scrimmage unless you're reading where you're supposed to be, right? The interception for return for a touchdown, there's a we're in sky coverage, right? Don't want to explain all what that is, but Myles kind of baited the guy. He comes down late, and the quarterback just kind of lobs the ball out there, thinking he's going to have a little easy 4 or 5 yard gain, and right then it's a high step to the end zone for Myles. So it's just a young man he's seen a lot of football, right? He's very confident, very smart. And so when you played a lot of football, you trust, like you said, you start trusting everybody else, and everybody else is working their tails off. And so Myles is in his gap, or he's in his coverage, and great things happen for all of us.
Myles, this is your 3rd year as a starter. Just take me through where maybe you feel you've improved the most or grown from when you first, came on the scene as a sophomore corner to now be a senior and a veteran leader.
Definitely more discipline, better IQ. I still have a lot to improve on, so I'm never never just like, what I'm trying to say.
I feel you. Yeah, sure. Everybody's still getting better.
Right. I love that answer. Right. I'm getting better. I hope I'm getting better every day. Right. And Myles is obviously an amazingly talented high school football player. Right. So, but if you're satisfied with that, then right, you're not going to ever reach your goals. Right. Try to get better every day. I love that. That's a great answer.
Coach, Myles came on as a sophomore corner for you guys, and then moved to safety. So just kind of take me through. I know we've talked about this before. Just he grew and had some more size, but just tell me about that transition. And people think about, it's just you just move over a little bit, but it's a totally different position he's got.
It's a totally different position, and Myles is most likely a corner in college, right? He was unselfish. We asked him to move to safety that way. Our opponents couldn't throw the ball away from him. As a sophomore, he stepped in there, and he listened to what the coaches had to say and played his technique as well as he could play it for a young man. And he's gotten bigger, right, as he's grown up, a couple of years, but he's just gotten better and better and better. And he can now, of course, he can go to college and play safety. He can play nickel linebacker. He can play corner. He can probably do just about anything he wants to do.
Speaking of college, I know there's been a lot of recruiting interest, Myles, and you've committed to Oregon. Just kind of take me through what that process was like and how you decided on Oregon for your future home.
Just taking the process slow. I didn't really think about it too much to stress myself, especially during the junior season, because I know what we had to handle during the season. And I had school on top of that. So just when I went down there, just gave me a good vibe, good energy. I like the coaches a lot, so that pretty much summed up my commitment.
Very cool. Big game Friday night at Union. I always like to ask players this. Do you like road games or home games better?
Road games.
Why is that?
You face a lot of adversity, so I like it.
Like going out and keeping everybody quiet?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Coach, I can kind of see that, can't you, with Myles?
Well, I can. That's that was I don't want to say a surprising answer. It's a great answer for a head coach. You love to hear that, right? And we need when you have a big percentage on your team, players on your team that feel that way, that's great, right? You're backed into a corner, and you're over there, and it's going to be loud, and it's going to be tough. And every time we have the ball, the band's, Union's band's going to be playing, and I think that's a fantastic answer. I love it.
Myles, have you watched much Union? Did you get a chance to watch him play Friday night? Do you try and watch other teams live, or do you just go with the film study?
I go with the film study and watch them play. I watch them enough to know what they're going to. Yeah. Basically their keys and stuff. So I feel like we have a lot to improve on since Mansfield. We did good what we had to do. Still have a lot to improve on during the practice week, and we just got to handle business when we go down to Union this week. Awesome.
Myles, thanks for being here. He's going to get $25 to Rib Crib for being on the show tonight. We'll take a timeout. Coach Alexander and I will break down the Union Redskins Friday night's opponent after this.
1982 was a year of overcoming adversity for the Tigers. After starting the year with a victory over Sand Springs, the rest of the season produced a series of disappointing losses to Memorial, Jenks, McLean, and Muskogee. But there's no quit in the Tigers, as team leaders Bill Zachary, Ronnie Hill, and David Alexander helped the team rise to the occasion and beat East Central to go 5-5 for the year. This great moment in Tiger history is brought to you by First National Bank of Broken Arrow, a loyal fan of our community for over 100 years. First National Bank of Broken Arrow, the right balance.
With kids, life is one big adventure. That's why you need a strong financial partner you can count on, like TTCU Federal Credit Union. Right now, you could get $150 when you open a new TTCU checking account. And every time you use your School Pride debit card, TTCU donates to schools. What better way to make a difference? Checking account? Why not call it your living account? TTCU Federal Credit Union. Life is better in balance.
Welcome back to Inside Tiger Football, presented by Rib Crib. Final segment as we get ready for Union on Friday night. 7 o'clock kickoff at Union. We'll have it on the Animal and on AeroVision. If you need your tickets ahead of time, you can stop by Tiger Threads Wednesday and Thursday, 9 to 5. Those tickets, $7 for adults, $4 for students. Coach, Union was part of the Border Brawl, played Mansfield, Lake Ridge, one of their better teams down there in Mansfield, and lost 47-44, kind of a wild opener. What have you seen from them?
Well, it's a typical Union football team. They're big, both offensive lines and defensive line. They got some big players, and then the speed, that's always stands out with Union football teams. The amount of speed they have, it's everywhere. The running backs, they handed the ball to 3 different guys. They threw the ball to 5 different guys last week. A couple corners that can run. So they're a fast football team, and so to beat a fast football team, you really have to be able to execute.
It seems like they had a lot of big plays, both for and against in that game. So just coaching point wise, how do you handle that, knowing that there probably can be some momentum swings? I mean, there always are when you play a rival like Union or Jenks and Owasso even. So how do you just keep those kids dialed in, knowing that this one's probably going to take a little bit different course than last week against Mansfield? Yeah,
well, you talk about it. That's exactly what you talk about. Hey, Union's really good. Union's a really good football team, man. Right? They're going to score touchdowns, or they're going to create a big play. And so it's not that just keep going. Just play the next play. Right? If they score, we're going to score. Right? If they cause a fumble, then we're going to get one back. So it's going to come down. It's going to be a 48-minute football game there, or 2 overtimes, or whatever it is. This game will not be decided in the first half.
What will be key for you guys Friday night?
Well, we talked about the big plays they had offensively. We need to tackle. They're going to catch the football. Their quarterback's too good, and the receivers are too good. They're going to catch the football. Right? It's about tackling right there where they catch it. And then not letting a couple of those really fast tailbacks, turn a 5 or 6 or 7 yard gain into 15 or 20 or 50. Be really great tacklers. And then offensively, we have to control the clock. If we don't control the clock and we let Union have a whole bunch of possessions, it'll be a long night for us. All
right, Coach Alexander, good luck Friday night against Union. We'll be on the Animal with the pregame show at 6:30 on AeroVision just before 7. Don't forget, tickets available at Tiger Threads Wednesday and Thursday from 9 to 5. For Coach Alexander and and our entire crew, I'm Charlie Hannema saying good night from Broken Arrow.
This AeroVision broadcast is copyrighted by Broken Arrow Public Schools for the private use of our audience. This broadcast may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the expressed written consent of Broken Arrow Public Schools.